Hello, hello, hello. Let me know about the sound. If it's working again better, everyone. How is everyone doing? What a week. What a week. I'm in agreement with you, Patrick. Happy end of week. Open. I have not opened wine. What kind of wine did you open? 1 minute after the close. You waited a whole minute? I would expect you were. I would have been airing it out. Well, see, I haven't. No, you were ahead of me because I haven't opened anything. But I would have had it decanted. I would have had the wine decanted. Ready. So all I had to do, it got some air for an hour and a nice decanter. Well, at least if it's a red wine you opened and needed decanting, that would be good. Then you could just dump it into the glass 1 second after the close. Happy Friday, George. I can see why they're called Rip Your Face Off Rally. 20% stocks and gains in just 2 days. Biggest short squeeze ever. 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 I will just say it one more time. Oh, this is so funny. It's funny. Hey, W Browser, I'm checking in. Yeah, hot cocoa yum on the sidelines. Well, thank you for being here. This is not going to be a long live stream today. So, not going to be long. We'll be back on Sunday. Sterling says it sounds good. Welcome. Stocks always go up. The semis are screaming. It's the mad rush. And now you have about 10. What is it? You have massive buybacks essentially through the end of the year hitting too. For someone who goes through the trouble to sous vide, I'm not surprised you have a process for wine. Is sous videing? I made three. I had some fillets still in the freezer that I wanted to clear out some room in the freezer, so I did three sous vide fillets this week. Sous videing them, 126 and a half degrees, searing them on the grill with the grill grates. Grill grates, by the way, if you don't have a pair, if you do have a gas grill, they work with a lot of things, but grill grates are fantastic. Look it up, grillgrate.com. Not sponsored by them, would take a sponsorship, but a fantastic way to sear meat. Is this one hated rally? I think everybody, I love this rally. Good evening, Anissa. Hope you had a wonderful week. So, yeah, yeah. Whew. All right, we had Michigan consumer sentiment preliminary. Remember, the final numbers will come out next week. Big miss, but it doesn't matter. Inflation expectations by the consumer going up. Current conditions dropping substantially. It doesn't matter because see, I learned. I've learned over the last couple days from talking to people. I've learned that anytime the Fed changes anything, it's a pivot now. And all pivots are to be bought. No matter what. Pivots and any change in Fed policy was 75 to 50 is a pivot. 50 to 25 is a pivot. 25 to eventually 0 is a pivot. The only time it's not a pivot is if they do the same thing for consecutive meetings. And you got to buy every pivot. That's what I've been instructed. You can see here, healthcare taking in the shorts with the rotation. I mean, the rotation into what I consider risk assets is major. Besides, oil's not a risk asset. But the rotation into stuff that's been beat up, it's just like chasing it. There is no tomorrow. We'll see out of defensive, out of healthcare. And I'm not just saying defensive stocks. This is just the massive rotation into, you classically call this risk on mode. You can see healthcare utilities, beat up, consumer defensive, but cyclical. Ignore energy for basic materials. The the pattern triggered in copper. Gold kept marching on. Platinum, communication service, some of the most beat up things are just rallying massively. Look at this. Over close to 11% in technology in a week. Long term, nothing's changed, but short term, it's a rip your face off bear market rally, 85 to 15%. Fear and greed. If this keeps going, we could go to extreme greed. Nasdaq, I've up there first, closing above the 50 from this last retracement, not the overall mega one, but this last retracement, triggering this double bottom pattern. So unless there's a substantial pullback in the Nasdaq, we can continue to see higher prices. I will be focusing on longer term, a reconnection with the 200, as long as the pattern does not get invalidated. So that's where we sit. We can call it a day. By the way, the only concern I now have in the short term is daily and weekly cycles are at the top. And I think the fallout from FTX, which, boy, what is it, 130 something entities all declaring bankruptcy? Didn't they just assure everybody in the USA like yesterday that FTX USA wasn't going bankrupt, and then it files for bankruptcy today? There is going to be still some ripple effect fallout. There's a lot of money that's going poof, and some of it's institutional, and I think there's going to be a bigger ripple effect with some regulatory aspects and tie-ins with the government, which should not be shocking. Shouldn't, even though crypto's not officially regulated, there's going to be some interesting fallout to this. So stay tuned for the fireworks, and Bitcoin on its way back down is just pausing so far. S&P continues through the second target. Remember the third target, 40.59, and I'm expecting a reconnection with the 200. We may get a pullback before that, but key support back at 39.15. The Dow eking out a red close above that 62.5. Hate red closes above the 62.5. I did some testing with that. They are not, you should wait for a green close, by the way. Will not be surprised to see a Dow pull back. Russell closing in, not yet to that third target, but still closing above the 200 again. So closing above the 200. That just keeps marching. Stuff's marching on. Like, there's not going to be a recession. Everything's, the light is at the end of the tunnel. There's nothing that can go wrong. Not saying the rally can't continue because we triggered another pattern in the Nasdaq. What I am saying is it's not, everything's being priced for perfection again. So when something rocks the boat, just watch out. I trail stops. The DAXI next key level is 14,607. Would not be surprised to see a pullback there, but now key support is back at this prior breakdown zone about 13,950. Notes, which triggered the double bottom pattern, pausing at the harmonic. So far, this was an inside day compared to yesterday. So resumption play for next week is a breakout above Thursday's high. Little funny thing, this was a double top channeling pattern right down. Just wanted to point this out. Hitting all three targets within the channel, and then the resumption back up to the breakout of the channel. Dollar index getting absolutely hammered. First and second targets hit, and of course now they get the weekly close, but the horse ran out. I'm watching next week for the reconnection with the final target and major support, 104.90 to 105 area. VIX, the VIX, by the way, virtually a return to the weekly 200 again, nearly to the final target. Also, remember we got the close below 62.5, so beyond this final target, we could easily still go to 21. And there's still a gap here. Things are looking absurdly bullish. Oil rotation back up. Oil stocks were up big. But oil still is in a consolidation pattern, so sitting aside there. Gold, I'm just doing a recap while it's fresh in my mind. The double pattern done. We closed above the 62.5. 75 harmonic hit with pretty much a dead close on it right here. Key support now. Key support coming back in. There's two little support areas. First support about 1750, 1748, 1750, and then 1740 on any pullback. Remember, we should, probability-wise, 1798, which is right in front of a reconnection with the 200, and it hasn't hit the 200 since back in June. Also, cycles getting to the top on the daily, and not yet at the top on the weekly, but reconnected with the 50 on the weekly, and you see that 75% harmonic. Copper triggered the pattern. This, unless you got in it on a shorter term, like you'd have to get in it on nearly a 1 hour close right here. It's now has to be entered on a pullback to get proper reward to risk. But copper has hit the double, and it's a pretty big double. Copper also above the 50. So watching this, and I am focused on the first and second targets in this. Platinum, which triggered, which I did not cover, that triggered back on Monday. I did not touch on it on the channel. That's why it's helpful to keep your own charts, or remind me if you see something does trigger, and I will then cap. Yesterday, hitting this first stop reduction target and pausing there roughly. So the stop reduction is in place. The stop reduction is in place. What else? What else? Oh, in case anybody was watching for stock stuff, just wanted to point this out. This had to be played intraday also. But Paramount, this was a double. 1 hour close above there. And boom, boom, boom. Even if you were going with the aggressive targets, it was boom, boom. Virtually, whether it seeks out or not, it doesn't matter. But you also had a gap play up here too. So gap filled. Paramount done. Just wanted to point that one out. Also, Euro right in front of the final target. This, we're going into a weekend when it's like this, by the way. I always, I can't say always, 90-something% of the time, it's like, just might as well take the pattern off. Might as well take it off when it's in a few pips of the final target going into a weekend. Is there still some more upside room? Sure. There is still the possible reconnection, and I think it will be likely with that 200. Also on the bigger time frame is closing above the 62.5. From this isn't a major one, but this is the next one I'm watching. The next target area I'm going to utilize after a pullback is about 104.40 to 104.47. This is where I will more focus on the 75. Bitcoin, we never got the close. Remember I said we'll watch for a 4 and 1 hour close. No 1 hour close below the 62.5 just yet. I am going to keep watching for that. This is a very key level. Why we close below that, we should easily retest the lows. I'll get to just take a look at stuff in a second. Tesla, not quite the full gap fill, but on a continued move next week, 204 is the continued area to reconnect it with the rotation zone. Now we can ratchet down all the other harmonics lower. All right. What I miss? What I miss? Oh boy. Well, what's your opinion on FTX? First of all, FTX, do you think more platforms will go down? I think yes. Yep. We're starting to get the great unravel of a lot of the crypto Ponzi and the over leveraged of and the mishandling of funds. So one of the things that led to the vertical up, and as I said earlier this week, there was not just one cockroach. You're going to see multiple things unravel now, and it's going to get very interesting with the FTX and all of its entities going bankrupt. We took out the last two FOMC press conference dumps. Next target, take out Jackson Hole, go S&P. Remember to analyze both sides for your stops. Was surprised to see Netflix fly past your target at 279 this morning. What happened? Short covering. There was just a massive remember, next target area, and then you go 62.5. You got the return above the 62.5, so the next target is 298.94. Everything's in just outwards buy mode. So double completed. Next target was the 62.5, a close above the 62.5. Then we go target the 87.5 in the most recent high areas. So that's where it stands. It's buy everything mode. And there's been a ton of short covering. Shorts are just getting obliterated. And with this dollar move down, hold on. Again, we're in complete no fear mode. I've talked to a lot of people. The stuff that everybody's saying is guaranteed, and this is what makes me pause. We have more confirmation with some key buy patterns, but those are targets, and I think we'll hit those well before the end of the year. What gives me pause is guaranteed rally through the end of the year by multiple people. When I start hearing guaranteed rally, no brainer to the end of the year, don't bother doing anything till January 2nd, that gives me major pause. So, at some point I'd love to learn more about the stochastic RSI. I'll do something on that at some point. Crypto needs to be FINRA regulated. People shouldn't be using everything. The broker's going under. Well, that was part of the attraction that it wasn't regulated and it was decentralized. How decentralized is this? You know, once the riffraff gets out of it, I'll be more interested in crypto again. I've been banging on this, and Tether wasn't the first to go down. Tether will still go down at some point. You know, but it was leveraged loans to the miners. It was all this self-dealing. And people don't manage risk well. The bigger problem I saw that was some of these crypto firms advertised like it was backed with, the deposit insurance, which it never was. Yes, Rich, the market is way overbought and can continue. Your 62.5 continues proving to be the magic level. Also head and shoulder trigger on the 1 hour, in Tesla? Yeah, it's valid. I'll put this out there. All right, there's your little reversal pattern in Tesla. We should remember it can be a pause, a slight pullback. I wouldn't be surprised to see some of these levels next week retested, some of the breakout areas retested. Yes, yes. Let's see. Do I let WBD? I did not look at WBD. Paramount finished its pattern. Let's just hold on. I gotta re-anchor my stuff. Look at that. Oh, I had not looked at Warner Brothers Discovery, but so I mean, there's no close above there. What was it? 1221. What was the close? 1221. Right on it. By the way, on is not a close above. But I would be watching the break. You got gaps overhead. You got your 200 overhead on the 400. Let me just look at here. Paramount. From a longer term, if you had to make me choose. Sorry, I forgot to take. Let me ratchet these down again. If I had to choose between the two, I would be going. If you made me pick between WEB or Paramount for a continued, I'd have to go. Oh, what did I put? I mean, WBD. What did I type in? WEB. I'd have to choose. My choice between the two would be WBD. And preferably, if I got to do it more, I'd wait till it at least broke intraday above 1221 again. And then as long as it closed above that, I'd be targeting this high price. Why do I like it better? Between the two, what did it manage to do? It's back above the prior support, becoming resistance, and now this is prior support again. And you have you could easily run up here. Verse Paramount is here, but this is a ton of overhead resistance. It's pretty much already, from my perspective, there's a lot. It's got a little less to eke out. Yeah, it's above this support, but it's got a little less headroom in there. So I'm going after Warner Brothers. Well, we're glad you made it, Waka. So I'm just going. I don't have time to get through all this stuff. Mike, potential 4-hour double top on the ES. Yeah, that's really mini. I'll take a closer look at that. That might be. I'll look at that for Sunday. What's interesting, if that did work out, roughly it would take it back to the breakout zone. I'll have to make sure the measurements line up. I'll tune in for Sunday, or just if you can't do it live, watch the replay. I'll take a look at that. The inverse head and shoulder and the SPY got triggered. Inverse head and shoulder. Which one? This wasn't. This was all. That's already done. The next thing is just, I wouldn't overcomplicate this. The next target area on the spiders is 403.78. And then above there, you got the big gap from back in September. So let's just see if there's anything else here. Again, I can't stick around very long today. I'll look. Thank you. Business person. Well, there's a very. We'll look at AMD right now. AMD. AMD would be watching for a slight pullback move once the markets pause. Other than that, I'd be focusing on the next run-up play would be to the 200 with the bull market in place and everything just getting bought. Key support back at 69. Oh, too bad it's not 69.20. It's only 69.06. Do not ignore, though, for AMD. Jeez, come on, mouse. Don't fail me now. Do not ignore. There's a little gap behind yet here, but this is also a pretty significant level at 74.50, 74.47, 74.50. So that would be a short-term minor target to at least aggressively raise some stops. Hey, Jacob, thank you for the super chat. Hey, well, I'm glad. It's a beaut, Clark. Clark, a beaut. That's fantastic. Fantastic reference going into the holiday season. Well, I love that movie. It's a beaut, Clark. Fantastic. I got all my holiday decorations all ready to go. I'll probably have to take a photo of it at some point, maybe to put on the channel once I light up the house. It's not like the Griswolds, though. So, where I'm just going to see, what about Intel? I can't get to everything today. We're just going to touch on a couple things. Intel, pausing at the next thing here. Double never triggered. Where is your next key area? The next key area I'd be focusing on. Next key area I'd be watching first off for a pullback. Hopefully some people were able to get in on this longer term Intel play. Key support now on Intel is this 29 area. You still have a gap here from September, so that's going to be another stop raise target. Or this is another push higher is a great area to possibly do some covered calls. And then the next key area for me is right in front of 35. We have a breakdown zone there, a retest, and a 25% harmonic. So for a longer term push, that's the next target area. All right. That's where we'll leave it for today. Again, this was an exhausting week. A lot of analysis going on today. Apple, by the way, if you're looking for other plays, especially if there's a slight pullback play in here, Apple completed this little double bottom, and then, and then the close above the 62.5. So everybody should know the rules. And you got the 200. Apple would be another one that I'd be watching for the reconnection with the 200. If you're watching for a play, especially if we get a little pause or a pullback on an entry, That could be a nice play right here. A nice little upside play. You are welcome, Anissa. Oh, okay. So there you Sterling's playing Intel. All right. With that, I will wrap it up for today. Everyone have a wonderful weekend, and I will be back on Sunday. Turn off the computer, get away from the computer for a while, and have a wonderful time with family, friends, pets, and an enjoyable weekend. Talk to everyone later. Bye.